여러분 반갑습니다. I'm Kwon-soa and this is K-Culture Dive. Join us in taking a deep dive into the heart of Korean culture. From K-entertainment to AI news, and in our K-Culture Issues segment, we delve into the transformation of Korean actors this month. And with that, let's dive in. Joining us on today's show is my co-host Walter Lee. Walter, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Soa, and hello to everyone joining us on K-Culture Dive today. I'm Walter Lee, here to co-host alongside Soa and bring you the latest in K-entertainment stories.
Okay, Walter, let's start off with some interesting news on K-pop trends in the Eastern Asian region.
Yes, so I found this very interesting. According to the latest global K-chart jointly compiled by Korea's Melon, China's Tencent Music, and also Japan's Line Music, released on Wednesday, K-pop girl groups are more popular than boy groups in Japan. So on the Japanese weekly chart for June 8th to the 14th, TWICE ranked number 2, followed by aespa with 3, Islet at 4, Baby Monster at 5, Osatapim at 7, while IVE and Blackpink secured 9th and 10th respectively. Now, the global chart highlights distinct K-pop consumption patterns across key Asian markets, reinforcing long-observed industry trends. In other parts of the world, such as China showed a strong preference for boy groups and male solo artists. What surprised me was EXO ranked at number 2, followed by a Korean-based Chinese artist, D8, and number 3, Lay at which was at number 3, and Lay at number 4. BTS came in at number 5. 17 took the 7th place, G-Dragon and Big Bang at 9 and 10 respectively. So according to several domestic media sources as well, Korea has a good mix of both male and female artists and groups with groups such as IU, BTS, Blackpink, Stray Kids, just in the mix.
And not just groups, but I guess also solo singers like IU. But Walter, this is very interesting. I guess these results will help the K-pop industry and agencies to, target depending on which region.
Indeed.
But now let's move on to one specific boy group.
Yes, indeed. So according to SM Entertainment on Friday, Rise's album 2 surpassed 1 million copies in cumulative sales on the Hanto chart as of Thursday. Now, the achievement came just 4 days after the group's return. With the album 2, Rise has a total of 4 million selling releases following its debut. Its debut single, Get a Guitar, first mini album Rising, and also first full-length album Odyssey. Now, the album 2 has also performed strongly on the streaming and music charts. Shortly after its release, it topped the daily global K chart, the chart we mentioned earlier. The album also earned a platinum certification on QQ Music, China's largest music streaming platform, and reached number 1 on Japan's AWA Real-Time Rising chart. Now, in addition, it entered the top 10 of the iTunes Top Albums chart in 14 regions worldwide.
Wonderful achievement there. And we're going to keep it with boy groups.
Yes.
And this time you're going to talk about Cortez.
Yes, I think it's sort of my bias. Cortez is doing absolutely fantastic, and it's showing. Cortez continues to make waves globally with its hit track Red Red, surpassing 100 million streams on Spotify, according to Big Hit Music on Thursday. Now, Red Red is the main track from the group's second mini album Green Green, which reached the milestone on Tuesday, just 57 days after its release. What an achievement indeed. Now, the agency said the achievement makes Red Red the fastest song by a K-pop boy group that debuted within the last 5 years to hit 100 million streams on the platform. Now, the group also recently surpassed 800 million total Spotify streams across its catalog. Now, the group's momentum has also translated into strong demand for live performances and concerts. So every stop in Cortez's first concert tour, including its Incheon stop and also North American dates, has sold out. Less than just a year after their debut, the group has established itself as one of the K-pop's fastest growing new acts, and I think one of the biggest futures in K-pop.
I would have to agree with you on that. And with these titles, Red, Red, Green, Green, being such big hits, maybe we should make a title called Yellow, Yellow.
Yeah, yellow, yellow. We'll put it.
Well, thank you very much, Walter, for those updates, and stick around.
Will do.
And now, let's move on to our AI anchor, Arang, for more on the culture front. Arang.
Thanks, Sua. Here's your AI guide to the latest cultural headlines from Korea. Let's begin with our top story. Culture Minister Chu Young met with French Culture Minister Catherine Péguer and agreed to boost comprehensive cooperation across culture, the arts, and related industries. During their meeting in Paris on Wednesday local time, the two ministers agreed to work closely together to ensure the success of the Lumiere Summit, a film and audio-visual leaders forum that South Korea and France will co-chair in September. They also pledged to cooperate in addressing the challenges facing the film industry amid a rapidly changing media landscape. During his visit to France, Che also met with the heads of major French cultural institutions, including the National Library of France and the Guimet Museum. South Korea will help preserve a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Ghana, threatened by climate change. The Korea Heritage Service and the Korean National Commission for UNESCO will support the conservation of the forts and castles, Volta, Greater Accra, Central, and Western regions site through 2030. Over the next 5 years, the project will assess the site and develop measures against climate-related risks. It will also establish a climate risk mapping and monitoring system. The project marks Korea's first official development assistance initiative linking cultural heritage preservation with climate change adaptation, which is expected to help enhance the country's role in global heritage conservation. The Seoul city government has opened 6 outdoor swimming pools and water playgrounds along the Hangang River from today for the summer season. This year's facilities include swimming pools at Tuksom and Yeouido, and water playgrounds at Jamsil, Gwangnaru, Nanji, and Yanghwa. The Jamwon swimming pool, which operated last year, will be closed as the site undergoes redevelopment. The Hangang water facilities attracted more than 552,000 visitors last year, showing a 77% increase from the previous year. Reflecting their growing popularity, nighttime operations will also be offered for 59 days from July 3rd through August 30th. That's all from me. Turning now to a quick look at more K-culture stories making headlines today.
We talked about K-pop in Eastern Asia with Walter just a moment ago, but now from Seoul to Paris, K-pop's global momentum shows no signs of slowing down. After a special concert this week marking 140 years of Korea-France relations, our culture correspondent Park Gun-woo caught up exclusively with NCT WISH and 82 Major.
15 years after SM Entertainment artists brought one of the first major K-pop concerts to Paris, a new generation is now following in their footsteps.
15년 전 파리에서 SM타운 콘서트가 처음 열리면서 파리 시민들이 시위까지 하면서 콘서트가 더 많이 늘어나게 되었는데요. 15년 뒤 NCT WISH가 이 파리에서 공연하게 된 느낌은 좀 다를 것 같아요. 어떠신가요?
We were able to perform overseas thanks to the artists who came before us. We hope to continue growing and become artists loved by even more people.
NCT WISH says events like this highlight how music and K-pop can serve as a bridge between different cultures.
Music connects people even more strongly than language does. Through our performances and music, we'd like to help people understand each other's cultures and become closer.
They even hope to collaborate more closely with French artists in the future.
France is known for so many great dancers. It would be amazing to collaborate with French dancers or perform choreography created by them.
While NCT WISH just begins its journey in Paris, 82 Major has already experienced the city's passion during a recent world tour stop.
We learned a popular French football chant and tried it during our last concert. The crowd immediately joined in, and even after we thanked them, they kept singing it. That was a really touching moment for us.
The group's growing international presence recently earned it a place in a new government-backed program designed to help promising K-pop acts expand overseas.
With the support, we hope to introduce Korea to even more people around the world. We want to incorporate more Korean elements into our music and performances.
올해 한불수교가 140주년을 맞이했는데요. 이제 K-pop 아티스트로서 그 문화교류의 가교 역할을 어떻게 하고 싶은지 궁금합니다.
We hope to become a bridge connecting fans from both countries through music. As we learn more about French culture, we also hope French fans will continue embracing our music and culture, creating a meaningful exchange.
And judging by the reception they're receiving, the connection between Korea and France through music appears stronger than ever. 박건우, 아리랑 뉴스, Paris.
The pharaohs of Egypt rest in pyramids. The emperors of China lie within the vast mausoleum of Qin Shi Huang. But where do the kings of the 500-year Joseon dynasty sleep? Just 30 minutes from downtown Seoul by subway, a quiet forest holds the answer. Here, among wooded hills and shaded trails, lie the Joseon royal tombs, final resting places of kings and queens who ruled Korea from 1392 to 1910. In total, 40 tomb complexes are scattered across Seoul and its surrounding areas. Their historical and cultural significance earned them UNESCO World Heritage status in 2009. But these are not ordinary ancient graves. They are masterpieces of harmony between nature, Confucian philosophy, and Pungsujiri, the Korean system of geomancy, carefully designed so the landscape remains untouched. The result is extraordinary. A 500-year dynasty preserved not as ruins, but as living forest, lush, protected, and remarkably untouched in the heart of a modern metropolis. And for a limited time, that forest is opening its hidden paths. The Korea Heritage Service has temporarily opened 9 royal tomb forest trails, including Donggurum, Gwangnung, Sarung, Yungneung Gonnung Complex. Together, they span nearly 20 kilometers of woodland paths where towering trees frame the royal burial grounds in quiet majesty. It is a rare chance to walk through a forest where history and nature breathe side by side. But it won't last long. The trails close again on June 30th. Miss it now, and you'll have to wait for the next opening, spring and autumn, when the forests briefly welcome visitors again. More details on routes and schedules are available at the Korea Heritage Service Royal Tombs website, royal.khs.go.kr.
Recent films and streaming platform dramas have showcased actors stepping outside their comfort zones like never before. From taking on characters vastly different from their previous roles to exploring entirely new genres, many stars are surprising viewers with bold transformations. Today, we're joined by Professor Jae-soo of the Seoul Institute of the Arts and a filmmaker himself to take a closer look at some of the most talked about performances and projects in recent days. Welcome back, Professor Soo.
Hello, nice to be back.
All right, let's talk about a very hot drama these days, 참교육, or Teach You a Lesson. So the response overseas has been strong as well. Forbes even saying it may be one of the best dramas this year. So what do you think? Why is it resonating with people in Korea and abroad?
Well, it's definitely hit a nerve. I watched a couple of episodes already, and basically what I found was it just grabs you from the beginning. And the reason why this sort of series on Netflix is so popular is because it really kind of puts into the forefront sort of societal anxieties that we have. You know, in the past decades, Korean education has been going through reforms and basically, sort of updating student rights and, democratization of the school system. But at the sort of like, we've had good intentions, but it's also sort of taken away the rights of teachers now. An abusive parent can actually go and make hell for the teachers at the high school level. So this has become like a hot social issue where students and bullies and basically violence in school systems have become sort of like rampant. Not as rampant as this film, but as this series. But basically, I watched it with my son, and my son was like, "That's not. It's a little exaggerated." So, but But what I found, what was really fascinating about it, it hit the zeitgeist of what's happening in Korea right now. And I think in the West, you know, they might see this as like sort of like social justice or something like this. But for Korea, I think it really kind of hit a nerve. I think it may have like, you know, helped people to sort of understand it, or a lot of frustrations that teachers have was sort of like, you know, exercised by this. But it was also based on a popular webtoon called Get Schooled. And they've, I think, seriously, this series, I saw the webtoon, it's even better than the webtoon. So the director is Hong Jong-chan, and yeah, it's definitely, you know, got something, and the first episode really grabs you. Yeah.
Definitely. That's why I couldn't stop after the first episode.
Yeah, and I think it's not just a problem here in Korea. Not that you should believe everything on social media, but you do see it in other countries as well, where there's a lot of violence towards teachers. And I think that globally, many countries could relate to that as well. But staying on this drama, the standout performance at the moment is Kim Woo-yo. In particular, like obviously the way he's acting, and many, without jumping the gun, many are calling it his career-defining moment at the moment. He's calling almost. He's known for his commanding presence, basically in every project. He's got a quite interesting look, in my opinion, in a
Tough
great
guy.
way. But what aspects of his acting stood out to you the most in this drama?
Well, you know, he's famous for, you know, the Roundup, one of the Roundup series, Punishment, and then also Sweet Home and Trigger. Usually he plays the tough guy, and you can know it's Kim Woo-yo because he doesn't necessarily have a lot of lines in these movies, and his presence is there. Very tough guy. He usually comes out in action or thrillers. But I think what's interesting about this one, it is an action movie in a sense, but he's actually a teacher in this, sort of like he works for the government, and he has a militaristic background, you know, in his past, but he comes out as sort of like this tough guy with a tough like exterior, but he's very human inside because there's actually a tragedy that, you know, brought him to this stage. And then I thought some of the scenes where he talked to a bullied kid and they're eating ramen at a convenience store, it was really touching because it showed a different part of Kim Woo-yo, because most of the time he's the tough, you know, macho dude, but he has a softer side to this thing. And after all, the whole purpose of this story is about a government agency that's created to sort of restore order in this kind of chaos in the school system. So I think that's what's interesting about it. He's not just playing some, you know, thug or a cop hitting people, but it's actually he's going after parents, bullies, you know, and then even politicians. So that's what's interesting. Yeah, for sure.
Right, I actually have to say, when I just look at his appearance, I feel like he looks like a person who wouldn't hurt a fly. But because of these roles, I guess he's become that tough guy in these roles, such as in Samgyuyuk or Teach You a Lesson. But beyond streaming platforms, let's go now to the big screen, to theaters. Currently, Wild Sing, we touched upon this movie last time a bit, but let's talk about Kang Dong-won, and he's playing an idol, or a former idol turned dancer, and his performance is really great there with all the choreography. And yeah, what do you think about his transformation?
Yeah, I think Kang Dong-won's kind of a really fascinating actor because, you know, he's done action films, he's done dramas, he's done, you know, melodramas, love stories, and I think in this one it's a comic role, and he's really good at comedy as well, even in a dramatic sense. And I think he took the role really seriously. So what I really find fascinating about actors is like when they try something that, you know, he's not exactly in his 20s now, you know, and he's trying to be an idol. So I really took about a couple of months, like 5 months, to actually learn breakdancing, you know, head spinning. He actually did the moves himself. So I think he dedicated it, like, you know, if an actor takes a role where you have to really research the role. And so I think the defining moment for him is he's really playing a serious sort of like older idol that wants to reclaim his brilliant past. So those things sort of add to the whole movie, and I think people appreciate that as well when they go see the movie as well.
Right, and another hot topic surrounding Wild Sing is actually Choi Sung-gun, or played by Oh Jung-se, because his song from the film has gone viral. It's become unexpectedly a music hit, and I'm not exaggerating, it's my favorite song these days. I keep singing it every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, so why do you think this has resonated so much with the audience?
Again, it's like there's a trend going on even in Hollywood right now where there are movies done by people that are basically YouTube stars that, sort of connected with the movies. And young audiences are flocking to the movie theaters because of social media. And I think what's interesting about this is it's a phenomenon that was created for the movie, and the character, Joseon is somebody that always finished second in a competition, so he has this kind of frustration in him. And Oh Jung-se is, again, he's a comic genius in a sense, and so he took this role really seriously as somebody that's like always has like a chip on his shoulder. And so when he created this, I think the audiences went beyond the movie, and they just wanted to create this, like, a sensation that he indeed, ended up succeeding as sort of like this character, but as a real Joseon who finally has a hit,
right.
That everybody likes, especially you.
Especially so. Let's talk about another megastar actress, Shin Mina, in an upcoming film, The Eyes, or 눈 동자 in Korean. It's also drawing its fair share of attention. Now, she's long been associated really with like romantic comedies, melodramas, but this time she's kind of done a complete 180 and worked on a thriller. What aspects of this new role stand out to you the most?
Well, basically the movie hasn't been released yet, but from watching the trailers and reading up on it, it's actually a remake of a Spanish movie called Julia's Eyes. So it's a thriller. And Shin Mina actually plays a twin, she has a twin sister. And so she's playing two roles at once. And again, for actors, that's sort of like, basically a test of like your sort of acting prowess or your ability. So, and in this movie, it's called Eyes because she has a genetic defect where she's losing her eyesight slowly. And then her sister commits suicide. So the movie is like trying to find out what happened to her sister. Was she murdered, or was she, committed suicide? And then gradually she's losing her eyesight. So I think it's a challenge for her for the first time. I think her image is sort of like a pristine person that's usually, as you mentioned, in romance movies or comedies, things like that. But this is a kind of a real serious role where she's sort of like in a thriller situation where she has to react a lot, and I think we're going to kind of see a new version of Shin Mina. Really excited to see that movie.
Right. We might talk about that again later once we watch it, because I'm also very interested in that movie. But let's finally talk about a movie that you actually watched, Professor Seoul,
Yes.
which is The Shrine. And it features Kim Jae-jung, who has been long loved as a K-pop star.
동방신기.
Yeah, 동방신기, of course. So he takes on the role as a shaman in an occult horror film. So what new side of Kim Jae-jung can we look forward to in this project?
Yeah, I was shocked, because the last movie he did was like 12 years ago. It's called Coming of the Jackal. That was a comedy. And then in dramas, Kim Jae-jung always plays sort of like the handsome guy, sort of a rich man's son, things like that. And this is a kind of a new sort of term for him because he's like a shaman, like a priest in this movie. And as shamans do, he brings all the the bells and things like that. So. And initially, this movie kind of is interesting because it's actually shot in Japan by a Japanese director. His name is Kumakiri, and basically he wrote the script, but this is done with Korean production money. So, it's set in Kobe, and it's about like these college students that sort of one of them disappears. And so now the whole story is like trying to go find this sort of like person who's possessed. And it happens that, Jae-jung is sort of a shaman that sort of exercises all this stuff. So I heard initially he was attracted by the story because the character was kind of funny in the beginning. And then the director met him and he was like, no, I think you should be serious. Oh. So Jae-jung, really kind of delved into sort of being I guess like doing sort of all these shamanistic rituals. Sometimes I felt like I was the only one in the theater laughing a little bit because, it's weird to see 동방신기 doing gut, things like that. So, but at the same time, for me personally, being a horror fan, I wasn't really scared by the movie. And the director, maybe, his style is more like art films. So he was taking a kind of a new way of shooting it. It was very kind of long, and a lot of times, modern horrors, like things move fast,
right.
And really things come out. And it was almost like you saw things coming a little bit too early. So that's my only thing. But Jeju was great in it, so that's what I'm happy about. Yeah.
Right, so if it's not too scary, maybe it's actually something that I could try out. But yes, it was very interesting today again, and especially because The Shrine, I guess, is also a production that's made between Korea and Japan. Maybe we'll see more of that happening as well. So this was kind of K-shamanism combined with J-horror, I guess.
With Hinduism.
Oh, with Hinduism.
There's a Hindu god in the story
right.
as well, yeah.
All right, well, that's all the time we have today, Professor So. Looking forward to next time and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
And thank you, Walter. As always, we're going to have you back here next week.
See you next week.
Thanks for watching and for your interest in everything K-Culture. K-Culture Dive will be back on Monday, 2 p.m. Korea time. Have a culture-filled weekend and keep diving.